Okay, let's get started again. Homework D. Let's get right into it. I think this is one that we did go over in class. This was going to be a pretty quick one because there's a lot of irregular rhythms that have specific characteristics that are going to be easy to identify. Well, I hope. All right, let's start with the first one here on Homework D. So here, this is a pretty straightforward one. We don't see any QRSs, no QRS complexes. Okay, this one here is V-fib. Somebody get the AED, rate NA, or 0. Okay, that's clear. Let's move on. That's an easy one. All right. All right, next one here. We'll check for regularity, but remember when we're checking for regularity, we can't check between a normal beat and an abnormal beat. And we can see that we have an abnormal beat here. Beat number 2, beat number 4, number 6, and number 8. But where we can check for regularity is the back end. So we'll check from here to about here. And then let's check for regularity there. And that is regular. So we're going to call this a regular rhythm. The underlying rhythm, or the majority of the rhythm, is regular. Okay, and I made that determination by this back half, these back 4 beats. Okay, and I'm going to assume the rest of it in between these irregular beats are regular because these beats all look like these on the end, because the P waves all look the same. Step number 2, check your P waves. So the P waves look good. The intervals look okay, except for our abnormal beats. All right, our abnormal beats are wide. Okay, so those are wide. So step 4 is checking your abnormal beats. So we have PVCs, PVC, 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 and PVC. Okay, so let's check the rate, because that's step number 5. Step number 5 is check the rate. So we have 300, 150, 100, 93, 94, 95 beats per minute. So 95 beats per minute, something like that. I'm just estimating. You guys calculate with your 1500 method because this is a regular rhythm. Okay. So if we're 95 beats per minute and we have sinus, we have normal sinus rhythm with ventricular bigeminy. Okay. Or you can say 1, 2, 3, 4 unifocal PVCs. Either one of these are okay. So it's normal sinus rhythm with 4 unifocal PVCs or normal sinus rhythm with ventricular bigeminy. Okay. All right. Let's clear that one. Let's move along. All right. Next one in the list here is something familiar, I think. Not exact, but familiar. Check for regularity. You see that you are regular. Okay. You're regular here. Okay. Then you're going to check for your waves. This is what's going to determine whether or not you have a bundle branch block or if it's a ventricular escape rhythm, right? So when we check for our waves, we're going to look for our P waves. Do you see any P's? No P. No P. No P. No P. What does our P wave tell us? Our P wave tells us that it originates somewhere in the atrium. If we have a nice looking P, we're going to assume it comes from the sinus node. So here we don't have a P wave. So if we don't have a P wave, the signal or the wave of depolarization for the heart does not originate in the atrium, which means it does not originate in the ventricles. I'm sorry, excuse me, in the SA node. Okay. So the only other places that it can originate from are from the junction or from the ventricles. But if it comes from the junction, we will have a normal looking QRS, a normal size QRS. Okay. And our rate would be somewhere between 40 to 60. Okay. And that can change, right? It can be up a little bit, it can be a little bit lower. Right? If it comes from the ventricles, we're going to have a wide QRS, right? Greater than 0.12 seconds. Okay. The rhythm rate should be somewhere between 20 to 40. And we'll calculate that when we get there, right? So now we've identified where it's originating from. Okay, we have a wide QRS and we have a fairly slow rhythm or rate here. So no P waves. Okay, we can't check a PR interval. We identify that our QRS interval is greater than 0.12 seconds. That's step 2. All right, step 3, I'm sorry, rather, checking your intervals. Step 4, we don't have any abnormal beats, meaning we have no early beats, no late beats. Step 5 we would be checking the rate. So it would be 3, 4, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 boxes, 36 boxes. Divide that into 1,500. It's pretty low. So we're going to call this a ventricular escape rhythm. And then you calculate your rate, whatever it is. Okay? I don't know, probably like, 36. Who knows? I didn't do the math. All right. Ooh, here we go. Let's take a look at this one. You want to ask yourself, is this regular or irregular? Well, it's definitely abnormal. But remember, abnormal and regular, two different things when we're analyzing EKGs. Well, at least we use them to determine or define two different things. So we're checking for spacing in between each QRS complex. That's what we're using to determine regularity. And it's regular, right? We have no P waves, right? And our QRS interval's wide, right? And these are all PVCs. 0 P's, wide QRS, and fast. So we call this ventricular tachycardia. Okay, or VTAC is fine. All right, and then you calculate your rate. I think this one's like 187 or something like that. Okay. All right. Next one, we check for regularity. This one is also regular. All right, check your waves. I see P waves, I see QRSs, and I see Ts. All right, check my intervals. I'm going to check my PR interval, and then I'll check my QRS intervals. I'll double check my regularity really quick. Looks regular. I got an abnormal beat there. I'll come back and identify it in step number 4. Yep, regular, great. Okay. All right, so now let's look at our PR interval. So we have the beginning of our P wave right here, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. 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 And if you look all the way across, it looks like it's not changing. We have a consistently large PR interval. We have a PR greater than 0.2 seconds, which equals a first degree AV block. All right, so we're still on step number 2. I'm sorry, step number 3. We've checked our waves, they're all there. Now we're on step 3, checking our intervals. Okay, QRS interval, QRS, right, is okay, within range when I say okay. All right, now this is just part of the interpretation. It's not the rhythm. All right, so what's the rhythm? Well, we're gonna get to that. Right now we're on step number 4, abnormal beats, and we have one big abnormal beat there, which we know that that is a PVC because it is wide QRS, wide and bizarre. Okay, now we're on step 5. Let's calculate the rate. 300, 150. We're fast here. We're about 115 or so. So we are sinus tachycardia with 1 PVC and first degree AV block. All right, that's that one. All right. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, but luckily for you guys, this is going to be a recording so you can go back, right? Next one, we have our Spittle Spikes here again. We had that earlier, however, it was just one all the way across. Here we have regular spikes, however, the shapes change. What happens when shapes changes when we have waves? Well, that means we have different cells firing. So we have VTAC with different ventricular cells pacing. And one rhythm that we did talk about that does this is torsades. And then you calculate your rate. I don't know what it is, like again, 2 something, 217, whatever it would be with your 1500 method. Okay. Remember, in torsades, you have 2 competing ventricular cells that are firing in ventricular tachycardia, and they're trying to pace the heart. This one here, hopefully you can tell by now, we have a regular rhythm, we have regularity. But when in doubt, make sure you measure it. Good, looks good. And then I have 2 PVCs. Regularities, fairly regular, good. No big changes. Let's check the waves. You got your P wave, P wave, P wave, P wave, P wave, early beat, P wave, P wave, P wave, and P wave. They all look the same. Again, we're calling this sinus because they all look the same. They all have a similar shape. We're okay with that. Intervals, PR intervals okay. PR okay. QRS interval is okay. That's less than 0.12 seconds, and this is less than 0.2 seconds, 20 seconds. Okay, step 4, abnormal beats. I got 2 PVCs, right? We have a wide QRS there and a wide QRS there. 2 PVCs. So let's calculate the rate. Let's see here. 300, 150, 100, I don't know, somewhere about 83. 83, 87, 85. What we do know is it's less, or it's between 60 and 100. So that means we have normal sinus rhythm, 83 beats per minute, whatever it is, calculate it, with 2 unifocal PVCs, or with a unifocal couplet. Okay, and remember, a couplet means two back-to-back PVCs. Okay. Let's move on. This person's in trouble here. Okay. We have ventricular tachycardia, so we're going to go VTach to VFib. All right. Two rhythms here. I have VTach, and then I have VFib. All right. Two rhythms, two rates. You find your ventricular tachycardia rate, and we're going to call it, I don't know, about 230 maybe, 230 VTach, and VFib 0 or NA. Okay. Next one. Measure it out. That looks okay. Just about right. All right. And then I should have had a beat fall right here, but I didn't. Slide over. It should have landed there, and then my next one would have landed right here, but it didn't. Okay, and we have this beat right here. Okay, but I'm still going to check for regularity on these last two, and I think it changes a little bit. Nope, it's right on. So it's regular. Okay, it is regular. The entire strip, yes, there's some abnormality in there, but within the regular beats, beat 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, they're all the same. And how can I tell? Those P waves all look the same. Step number 2. Step 2. Okay, that's how I know it's coming from one cell. I couple the same looking P waves and the regularity between each beat. I know it's coming from the same cell, even though there might be small differences here and there. Okay, when they're larger differences, they're easily to note. Okay, let's check the intervals. The PR interval actually looks okay, and so does the QRS. That's step 3. Step 4, checking for abnormal beats. Well, I don't have any early beats, but I have a late beat. I'm gonna have a late beat. This one is late. All right. So when we have a late beat, it equals an escape beat. Escape beat is what we're calling it. All right. So we need to identify what kind of escape beat that is. Is it an atrial escape beat? Well, if it was atrial, it would have a P wave, but I don't have a P wave. No 0 P wave. All right. So if I don't have a P wave, it's either a junctional or ventricular. If it's ventricular, I have a wide QRS, but here I have a narrow QRS. So I have a junctional escape beat. All right, so now let's calculate the rate and then the rhythm. Step 5, let's do the rate real quick. We'll go 300, 150, 100, 75, 60, and it's going to be less than 60. So we're going to call this sinus Brady with one junctional escape beat I don't know, we'll call it 55 beats per minute, whatever it would be. Calculate it, use the 1500 method. All right. Very good. Let's keep moving. Next one here. Check for regularity. You see that you're regular. All the way across, double check. Check it over here. Quite regular, right? Okay. Step 2, check for your waves. And you notice that after your QRS, you have a T wave and then another QRS, QRS, T, QRS, T, so on and so forth. So we have no P waves, 0 Ps. Okay. Check your intervals. QRS interval is fine. No PR interval because we don't have Ps. Okay. Any abnormal beats? Well, it's regular all the way across, so nothing came early and nothing came late. You want to calculate your rate next. And we're going to go ahead and call it maybe 187, maybe something like that. Somewhere between 300 and 150. Okay, go ahead and calculate that out, but we know it's fast. When we don't have P's and we're fast like that, we have SVT. Remember, that's our generic term because we're just calling it supraventricular, above the ventricles. Okay, I don't really know whether it's coming from the atrium or the junction. So that's why we use the generic term supraventricular tachycardia. Okay. Let's skip this one here. I'll let you guys skip that one. This one here should have been a sinus block. Actually, I'm kind of curious now. Slide that one over. It's flying here. Okay. Nope, sinus arrest. Sinus arrest. All right. Like I said, ignore that one. Just got myself a little bit curious. Okay. We didn't talk about this one, I don't believe. This one here actually was a sinus, more sinus arrests. So we'll skip this one also. Ooh, and it looks like this is actually the last one of this set here. Okay. That looks off. All right, there's that one. Okay. Lands right here. And this is a sinus arrest. Sinus arrest. So again, you won't have any sinus arrests on your exam, but that's an example. In future videos, we'll discuss that, but it's okay for now. Okay, so this is letter D, homework letter D. Okay, looks like we got one more to go, and we will catch up on homework E. Homework E. All right, see you soon.